The city lights of Berlin blurred as Victor sped through the night, his 6-year-old daughter, Clara, pale and fragile in the back seat. Her fever had spiked, her breaths shallow, and the local doctors were baffled. Victor, a successful architect, had built a life of luxury, but none of it mattered now. His world was crumbling, and Clara was his only anchor. 3 years ago, he'd lost his wife, Elena, to a sudden illness, and the thought of losing Clara too gripped his heart like ice. He'd heard of a private hospital in Zurich, renowned for its cutting-edge treatments. Without hesitation, he booked the first flight, clutching Clara's hand as they landed. The hospital's sleek glass doors parted, and a nurse led them to the pediatric wing. Victor's mind raced, numbers, plans, anything to distract from the fear. He whispered to Clara, "You'll be okay, my star." Her weak smile was his only hope. At the reception, a doctor approached, her white coat crisp, her presence commanding. Victor looked up, and time stopped. His knees buckled, his breath caught. The doctor's face, those familiar hazel eyes, the gentle curve of her lips, was Elena's. It couldn't be. His heart pounded, a mix of grief and disbelief. "I'm Dr. Sophia Keller," she said, her voice calm but piercing. "I'll be treating your daughter." Victor couldn't speak. Was this a cruel trick of fate or a miracle? Clara tugged his hand, grounding him. He nodded, but his eyes never left Sophia. Something impossible was unfolding, and he wasn't ready. Victor sat in the hospital's sterile waiting room, Clara asleep in his arms. Her small chest rose and fell unevenly, each breath a reminder of why he was here. Yet, his mind wasn't on her alone. Dr. Sophia Keller's face haunted him. It wasn't just a resemblance, it was as if Elena had stepped out of a photograph. The same delicate jawline, the same warmth in her gaze. 3 years ago, Elena's death had shattered him. He'd buried his grief in work, in Clara, in routine. Now, this woman had ripped open that wound. He tried to focus on Clara's chart, the medical terms blurring before his eyes. Was Sophia a coincidence, or was fate playing a game? The door opened, and Sophia entered, her clipboard in hand. "Mr. Ivanov, we've run initial tests. Clara's condition is complex, but we're optimistic." Her voice was steady, professional, yet it carried a softness that unnerved him. He wanted to ask, to demand answers, "Who are you? Why do you look like her?" But Clara's presence stopped him. Instead, he muttered, "Thank you." Sophia knelt beside Clara, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The gesture was so familiar, so like Elena, that Victor's chest tightened. "She's strong," Sophia said, meeting his eyes. For a moment, the world faded, and it was just them. He saw no recognition in her gaze, no hint she knew the storm she'd stirred. "We'll talk soon," she added, standing. As she left, Victor clutched Clara tighter. He wasn't sure what scared him more, Clara's illness or the ghost of Elena walking these halls. Something was pulling him toward Sophia, and he couldn't resist. The Zurich hospital hummed with quiet efficiency, but Victor felt trapped in a surreal haze. Clara was stable, hooked to monitors that beeped softly in her room. The doctors needed more tests, more time. Victor paced the corridor, his polished shoes clicking against the tiles. He'd built skyscrapers, negotiated million-dollar deals, but here, he was powerless. His only solace was Clara's faint smile when he read her favorite story. Yet, his thoughts kept drifting to Dr. Sophia Keller. Her face, Elena's face, was a riddle he couldn't solve. He avoided her, fearing what her presence meant, but fate had other plans. That afternoon, Sophia found him in the cafeteria, a tray of untouched coffee in front of him. "You look like you haven't slept," she said, sitting across. Her directness startled him. "Clara needs me awake," he replied, voice hoarse. She nodded, her eyes searching his. "She's lucky to have you." The words felt personal, too close. He wanted to ask about her life, her past, but the question lodged in his throat. Instead, he said, "You're good with her. She trusts you." Sophia smiled, a small, unguarded moment that pierced him. Kids see through facades. They know who cares. She paused, then added, "You're holding up well, but don't forget yourself." It was a simple comment, but it landed like a lifeline. No one had cared about him in years. As she stood to leave, he noticed a silver locket around her neck, simple, like one Elena used to wear. His pulse quickened. Was it a clue or his mind grasping at shadows? Sophia walked away, leaving him with a flicker of hope he hadn't felt since Elena's death. Victor leaned against the hospital window, watching snow dust the Zurich streets. Clara was resting after another round of tests, her condition still a mystery. The doctors were hopeful, but Victor's heart was a battlefield. Fear for Clara clashed with the enigma of Dr. Sophia Keller. Every glance at her revived memories of Elena, her laugh, her touch, the way she'd hum while cooking. He'd loved her fiercely, and her loss had hollowed him. Now, Sophia's presence felt like a second chance, or a cruel illusion. He needed answers. In the evening, he found Sophia reviewing charts in a quiet office. "Dr. Keller," he began, voice unsteady, "I need to ask something personal." She looked up, her hazel eyes calm but curious. "Go ahead." He hesitated, then blurted, "You remind me of someone I lost. It's uncanny." Sophia's expression softened, but she didn't flinch. "I get that sometimes. I'm sorry for your loss." Her sincerity disarmed him. "Who was she?" she asked gently. Victor swallowed, the words heavy. "My wife, Elena. She died 3 years ago. You could be her twin." Sophia's hand touched her locket, a subtle gesture that didn't escape him. "I'm just me, Victor. But I understand grief. It plays tricks." Her voice held no deception, yet he sensed a story behind her words. "Have you ever lost someone?" he asked. She paused, her gaze distant. "Yes. But I keep moving forward. For my patients, for Clara." The mention of his daughter grounded him. He nodded, gratitude mixing with confusion. As she returned to her charts, Victor felt a shift. Sophia wasn't Elena, but her presence was awakening something in him, something alive, something dangerous. The hospital's fluorescent lights cast long shadows as Victor sat by Clara's bedside. Her tiny hand gripped his, her fever finally easing. The latest tests showed progress. Clara's condition was rare but treatable. Relief washed over him, yet his thoughts lingered on Dr. Sophia Keller. She wasn't Elena, he'd accepted that, but her kindness, her quiet strength, stirred feelings he'd buried. He wasn't ready to name them, but they were there, persistent. That morning, Sophia joined him during rounds, her presence steadying. "Clara's responding well," she said, checking the chart. "She's a fighter, like her father." Victor managed a faint smile. "I'm no fighter. Just desperate." Sophia's eyes met his, warm but piercing. "Desperation takes strength too." Her words lingered, bridging the gap between them. Later, in the hospital garden, they walked while Clara napped. The crisp air felt alive, and Victor found himself opening up. "Elena was my world. Losing her. I didn't think I'd feel anything again." Sophia listened, her silence inviting. "You're feeling something now," she said softly. "That's not betrayal. It's living." Her insight startled him. She wasn't just a doctor, she saw him. He noticed her locket again, glinting in the sunlight. "That locket," he said, "it's like one Elena had." Sophia's fingers brushed it, her expression unreadable. "It was my mother's. A keepsake." She didn't elaborate, and he didn't push. Instead, he felt a fragile trust forming. Sophia wasn't invalid _token Elena, but she was real, present. As they returned to the ward, Clara's laughter echoed from her room. Victor glanced at Sophia, her smile mirroring his relief. For the first time in years, he wasn't alone in his fight. Clara's giggles filled the hospital room as Victor helped her color a picture. Her strength was returning, and the doctors predicted she'd be discharged soon. Victor's heart lifted, but a new weight settled in: Sophia. Each day, their conversations grew deeper, her presence a quiet anchor. She wasn't Elena, yet she filled a void Victor hadn't dared acknowledge. He caught himself watching her, the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her gentle encouragement to Clara. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was something alive, pulling him forward. That evening, Sophia joined him in the lounge, coffee cup steaming between them. "Clara's progress is remarkable," she said, her smile genuine. "You've been her rock." Victor shook his head. "You've been ours." The words slipped out, raw and honest. Sophia's gaze softened, and for a moment, silence spoke louder than words. "Victor," she began, "I see how you look at me. I'm not her." Her directness stung, but he nodded. "I know. But you're you. And that's enough." Her eyes flickered with surprise, then warmth. She touched her locket, a habit he now recognized. "This locket," she said, unprompted, "holds a photo of my parents. They died when I was young. It reminds me to keep going." The vulnerability caught him off guard. He wanted to reach for her hand but held back. "You're stronger than you know," he said instead. Sophia smiled, a weight lifting between them. As they parted, Victor felt the stirrings of something new, not a replacement for Elena, but a connection uniquely Sophia's. Clara called from her room, and Victor turned, his heart torn between his daughter's future and the woman who'd rekindled his hope. The Zurich hospital felt less like a prison now. Clara's laughter echoed as she played with a nurse, her recovery nearly complete. Victor watched, gratitude swelling, but his thoughts drifted to Sophia. Their connection had grown, unspoken yet undeniable. She'd become more than Clara's doctor, she was a presence that warmed the cold corners of his heart. He hadn't felt this alive since Elena, and it terrified him. Could he let someone in without betraying his past? That afternoon, Sophia found him in the courtyard, sunlight glinting off her locket. "Clara's discharge is set for tomorrow," she said, her tone professional but her eyes soft. "You've done well, Victor." He met her gaze. "We wouldn't have without you." The words carried more than gratitude. Sophia hesitated, then sat beside him. "Victor, I've seen you carry so much. You don't have to alone." Her words broke something in him, fear, maybe, or guilt. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted. "Feel again. Risk again." Sophia's hand rested near his, not touching but close. "No one does. But you're already doing it." Her voice was steady, grounding. He noticed her locket again, its silver worn but cherished. "Your parents," he said, "they'd be proud of you." She smiled, a rare vulnerability in her eyes. "I hope so. And Elena, she'd want you to live, Victor." The mention of Elena didn't sting this time, it felt like permission. As they stood, their shoulders brushed, a quiet promise. Clara's voice called from inside, and Sophia laughed. "Go to her," she said. Victor nodded, but his heart lingered with Sophia. Tomorrow, they'd leave the hospital, but he wasn't ready to leave her behind. Clara's bags were packed, her small hand clutching Victor's as they prepared to leave the Zurich hospital. She was healthy, her smile brighter than ever, a miracle Victor had barely dared hope for. Yet, as they stood in the lobby, his heart was heavy. Sophia stood nearby, her white coat crisp, her locket catching the light. She'd saved Clara, but she'd also saved him, awakening a part of him he thought was gone. "Ready to go home?" Sophia asked Clara, kneeling to her level. Clara hugged her tightly. "Will you visit us?" Sophia glanced at Victor, her eyes warm. Maybe. The word held promise. Victor's throat tightened. He wanted to say so much, how she'd brought light to his darkness, how she wasn't Elena but someone he couldn't let go. Instead, he said, "Thank you, Sophia. For everything." She stood, her smile soft but knowing. "Take care of her. And yourself." Their eyes locked, an unspoken understanding passing between them. He noticed her locket one last time, a symbol of her own strength. "If you're ever in Berlin," he began, leaving the invitation open. Sophia nodded. "I'll find you." As Victor and Clara walked to the car, he felt Elena's memory settle peacefully, no longer a weight but a warmth. Sophia wasn't a replacement, she was a new chapter. Clara chattered about home, and Victor smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in years. He'd call Sophia soon. This wasn't the end. Dear friends, what a journey. If this story touched your heart, give it a like and subscribe for more. Share your thoughts below, there's so much more to come.